Chase Lee Hockey here at the Blue Futon. Do I expect a lot of reviews on this one or watches? No, because everyone's going to review Don't Worry, Darling. Should you worry, or should you just be like, nah, I'll just live in this house forever? So Don't Worry, Darling, what's it about? I can't really give you the synopsis of this movie without going to IMDb. Because when I say I don't want to spoil this movie, this is very much a spoiler movie. So even though everyone kind of like, seen the trailer with the weird people with the mannequin faces or whatever. But anyway, a 1950s housewife living with her husband in a utopian experimental community begins to worry that his glamorous company could be hiding disturbing secrets. Okay, that is all I'm going to give you for the story. Did I like this movie? I'm going to say it's more on the positive side than the negative side, even though when watching the movie and finally end credits, it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to go maybe positive and negative mix with this one. So expect it to be an unconventional one. But first, I can put something out there. Harry Styles is in this. I was probably the only dude in the theater. Okay, maybe out of like 150 seats, maybe 5 dudes. Well, it's a lot of girls' time because of Harry Styles. Let's just say there's a scene in this movie where Harry Styles doesn't look like Harry Styles. It kind of looks like an average Joe. And let's say the girls in the movie, they were like laughing at him, like they were really saying, that's disgusting. He's gross. And it's like, damn. Like now we know that like making fun of dudes, chicks do it all the time. Like, this whole double standards, we need to kind of stop it because that's not cool. Like, I mean, that was just Harry Styles kind of looking normal, had normal, like, rimless glasses and, down his look. And you're like, so what? It's just a normal dude. And girls in the theater are, like, disgusted with it. So I was kind of wrong on that level. It has nothing to do with the movie. But let's look at the movie as a whole, the production design, the acting, the directing. I think all of that works extremely well with this movie, what it's trying to portray. It keeps the viewers on the edge of its toes. Because you're like, okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And about the 40 minutes left mark into the theater or into the movie, it does go into different interesting territory where it's like, okay, where are we going? Where are we going? And it kind of makes sense. You're like, okay, it does make sense. And when I say it makes sense, I have a movie script in the works that's kind of like this. Not 100%, but the overarching theme of this movie, all I'm going to say is there's a movie on my letterbox. It's in the bottom 10 that has to do with this premise. That's all I'm going to say. But then we go to the red suit people. That's not a spoiler. They're in the trailer, them climbing up the mountain. You're like, oh, wait a minute. What are these red shirt people? And then when they explain who they are, and then Chris Pine's character, and then Chris Pine's wife, and then you think back to the dolly driver or the trolley driver, and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And then with Olivia Wilde literally saying that Jordan Peterson is supposed to be based off Chris Pine. And I'm thinking about that, and that proves that Olivia Wilde doesn't have a clue who Jordan Peterson is. Like, she has never read his book. She actually never listened to him talk for more than 2 minutes on a short clip. So you're just like, what are we doing? Because her and the Megan Gyllenhaal interview. So I'm just really confused with the story and what she's trying to say. Because yes, I understand the whole message of the story, but how it's in the overarching ball of a story, how it's supposed to be nice and niche, it just doesn't work. But the ambition's there, the production design that is there, it keeps people guessing is there, but just the ending and what it's trying to tell falls apart because you're just like, this can't happen. Okay, I understand that it might be able to happen, but no, it can't. Actually, just can't because it just doesn't make sense. And I'm not going to spoil anything because it's a Thursday night. This is going to be out on a Friday morning, and I'm not going to spoil the movie for people that haven't seen it. So overall, Don't Worry, Darling. It's ambitious. It does shoot for the moon. It looks great. I love the old-fashioned cars. I like the old 1950s aesthetics. But what she's trying to do and her agenda for the movie doesn't make sense with what the characters do at the very end and how it's done. How it's done. And I'm looking down at this microphone a lot because I just don't know what to say anymore. So I think audience-wise, it's going to be like 75%, 80% female, 20% male. Are you going to like it? I don't know. Don't Worry, Darling will receive a 3 out of 5 with Futons equals at 60%. So see the correct news scores gave this one. And I'll say one thing, I do find it fascinating that people thought this was going to be an Oscar movie. It's not no more. Anyway, Don't Worry, Darling, we have a 35% with the critics, 144 of them. Audience score is 74% with fewer than 50. I'm curious if that 74% is going to drop or stay where it's at. I'm going to guess 68. It's going to be at the 68 point, but here's correct consensus. Despite an intriguing array of talent on either side of the camera, Don't Worry, Darling is a mostly muddled rehash of overly familiar themes. Yes and no. I don't think it's overly familiar with the overarching theme. I understand it could be like a Stepford Wives versus The Village versus the... No, I can't say that movie because that would... Oh my god, how many people are going to make it this far in the movie? In The Matrix. So I think it's like Stepford Wives, The Village, The Matrix, all into one. And that's the best I could say. Hope I didn't spoil it right at the very end of the video. 34? Nope, sorry. 35, 74, 60. Chase out with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Love no things. Futon, don't be Futon. Anything wrong. Have a great day. It feels like it with these... Yeah. Chris Pine. Pinocchio. Back to back. Chris Pine is now Pinocchio. Will you get that reference? I don't know.